water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the water Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah HaKudash, Barakatah. Peace and blessings to Hope for Left 144 and the rest of the 1/3. You know what I'm saying? Shalom, shalom. Peace and blessings to Hope for Left 144, rest of the 1/3. Shalom, shalom. And peace and blessings to all my apostles, bishops, elders, and Malachian. Apostles, bishops, elders, and Malachian of GMS, Thought you knew. Lord ain't playing, boy. I'm telling you now, the Lord is not playing at all. The Lord is coming for all the suckers. You dig? Every sucker.
Or the Hebrew Israelites and the rest of the heathen that may be listening.
Coming for all the suckers.
Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakah HaKudash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, ordained to be the ruling class people over all other races, all other governments, all other people here on earth as it is in heaven. The kingdom of heaven here on earth set up by who the world falsely and fraudulently calls JC. His name is Yahushai, always was, always will be, and he's coming back to gather that which was lost and establish the kingdom of heaven here on earth with the 144,000 and the rest of the elect of Israel who have yet to be gathered up. The people running around the earth referring to themselves as Israeli and Jewish are not the people of the Lord, and that's not anti-anything. That's an absolute truth. And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing. And to the few akwaf, meaning the sisters that are listening and learning, to you I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And this message is for the Hebrew Israelites and the rest of the heathen that may be listening. You definitely know that the scoffers and the agents are listening. That's right. All right? Oh. The people of the Lord primarily make up the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. History and relics prove that. The scriptures prove that 100%. It's ridiculous, the denial, the cognitive denialism of all the evidence from people like Vocab Malone. Well, he's a hireling anyway. And within Christianism, trying to hold on to the lies that they've pushed to the whole world as the truth comes out. And the scriptures talk about the truth coming out in the last days. All right. So I'm going to play 3 videos and just bring out a few scriptures. But first I have to read this copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, research. Fair use is permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, so you got to remember the basis of men, okay, the wicked. The Bible identifies a race of people as the wicked. Not that they try to generalize and just say, oh, it's just bad people. No, there is a race of people who has been identified as the wicked. And the wicked are the ruling class people and would be ruling upon the return of the Lord. Upon the second coming of the Lord, he is going to take the world from the wicked. All right. So the Israelites' rule is the kingdom of heaven. So if this is the kingdom of heaven, we're all in trouble. This can't be it. The Israelites are not ruling. The imposter converts and all their flunkies, all right, are the people who are in the ruler's seat right now. The wicked, that the Bible, matter of fact, let's just read that real quick, then we'll just start the lesson. This is Job 9:24. And it reads, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Because what it's saying, when you look at the world and you look at the things that are being done, it is done by the wicked. That's why the world is in mourning, why America is failing, why the world is failing, why 60% of the population have less than $1,000 in their banking account. All right, 40% have less than 500. Could be vice versa, but those are the numbers. Okay, so like I'm going to play a video. People live in hand to mouth. They work, they eat. You don't work, you don't eat. And it's really getting to be that way. And supposedly the wealthiest country in the world, which has been hijacked by the Amalekites, by the people who are claiming to be the people of the world, starting with the Fed. You're going to understand why people said get rid of the Fed, because the devaluation of the dollar and the hijacking of your country solidly started with the creation of the Fed in 1913. And so all you people with all the lie degrees, the lie IQs, is what I meant to say. All your lie IQs have failed you. All your college education has failed you. You're not intelligent. You're not smart at all. You're not the home of the brave. You're the home of the bend-overs. Okay? Because through their wicked policies, they've taken everything from you. And now they even put themselves in a position to where if you speak against them, makes you a criminal. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees. Isaiah 10:1. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and they write grievousness which they have prescribed. So without any further ado, Sabrina Salvetti, Savvy Sabs.
Everyone take note. We've been talking about the U.S. having a decline, but now we have the numbers to show it. This just came out. The U.S. dollar has lost 30% of its purchasing power over the last 6 years. Hold on to that thought. 30%. I want everybody to just take that in for just a second. Okay?
That's evidence that they're speeding up, what they've done, because it's 90% total since the invention of the Federal Reserve. It's a total of 90%. Okay? So basically, $3 today, $100 back then, you only get $3 of buying power today with $100 today, where $100 bought you about $600-700 worth of stuff back then, maybe even more.
6 years. So that means that the U.S. dollar is not worth what it was in even 2024, or not 2024, excuse me, and even like 2019 compared to what it is now. It's not even worth the same as 2019. In fact, this gentleman here, he did a pretty good breakdown. Shout out to Andrew here. The purchasing power of $100 since the Federal Reserve was created. 1913, $100. 1923, $57.89. 1933, $76.15. 1943, $57.23. 1953, $37. 1963, $32. 1973, $22. 1983, $9. See this big drop here? 1973, the US dollar was worth $22. It's the purchase.
What she means $100 is now worth $22 in 1973. Okay? Which would explain why my very first car was a 67 Mustang. Matter of fact, my first two cars. All right, at 19 years old, I had a 67 Mustang, exactly like the one in the movie The Outsiders. The same model, same color. Like that sky blue, grayish blue interior. All right. My favorite, still wish I had it. I wish I never got rid of it. And then after that, I had I got the 67 Fastback, just like the one in Bullitt. That was a 68, but those two are almost identical. It's very hard to tell those two apart. All right. Those were my first two cars, 19 and 21 years old. I had those cars. Okay. Those cars, both of those cars, even in the condition that they're in, one of them was practically mint condition, especially the first one, the coupe. The Fastback wasn't as in great a shape as the same because it wasn't all original as the first one. But both those cars together today, all right, would be worth about $150,000 easily, because the 67 coupe that was mint, that's about an $80,000-$90,000 car, and the other one in the condition it was in, you can get about maybe 30 for it. All right, 30 or 40. And yeah, and car enthusiasts will probably be able to. So just consider that. Think about that. I'm just giving you a marker to understand. And those cars came off the line back then, because in 1967. That car came off the line brand new for somewhere around, $3,000. The both of them. $3,500 at the most. Because the first one was a high performance 289 and the Fastback was a 302. All right. And now look how much the dollar has deteriorated to where a $3,000 car, now you will pay up to $100,000+ for it. What is that telling you?
It's in power. But come 1983, it quickly drops to $9.94. 1993, a little over $6. 2003, a little over $5. 2013, a little over $4. And 2026 right now, the US dollar, $2.99.
That's fucking crazy. Excuse my French, but not really. I bought a pack of gum yesterday for $3.20. Okay? Think about that in comparison to a $100 bill. That's really all it's you. Because I was a kid. I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, man. Kid in the 70s, a teenager in the 80s. And pack of gum was, by the time I started high school, was 50 cents. It didn't shoot up to $1 until to maybe the 90s. Late 80s, 90s. So, oh boy.
The US dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power, according to Andrew. Guys, this is absolutely insane. The last time you can say people probably had...
It's not according to Andrew, it's according to the numbers. It's according to the facts and figures.
Good was 1973.
And that wasn't even good. If $100... and you lost, almost 80% of the purchasing power in 1973. So that still wasn't good. And where do you think all that money was being siphoned to? Those same people that claiming to be the people of the Lord. because it's all their systems. This is why they all want to go into politics, why they have so many lobbyists and why they control every aspect of your country, of your government. They're at the top in law enforcement. They're at the top in the military, top at the Pentagon, top at the White House, top in within the lawyers and the judges, within medical, within information. Hell, they even own most of the apartment buildings and most of the nightclubs and entertainment places. It's all them. They've got plenty of control. And now,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why some people say in the Fed.
And you can see the distraught in her face and the emotion in this video. So I'm not going to play the whole video. I would highly suggest you go and watch this video because there's so much more information that comes out. But let me bring out some scriptures. This is James. Five and 1. And it reads, "Go now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupt, and your garments are moth-eating. Your gold and silver is cankered. The rest of them shall be a witness against you." This is a witness against them, that they're not really fit to lead, while they're always talking about their lie IQ. Okay? They're not fit to lead because, like I said, they've left their population struggling, horribly struggling. Okay? "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them have reached the ears into the Lord of Sabaoth," the Lord of armies, man. So the Lord is tired of seeing his creation suffer, especially the apple of his eye, which are his Hebrew Israelites. All right? Because no one is really meant to suffer like this, including the heathen. "We have lived in pleasure on earth and have been wanton and nourished our hearts as the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned to kill the just who doth not resist you." And they still do it to this day. They're still killing us in the streets. And there's a scripture, someone can put it on the comment board, where it says that when you stealeth a man, taketh a man wages, you killeth him. And that's what they're doing to people. Reducing people to living in their cars and being homeless, and people were just fine. She also, in this video, she goes into the fact that 9 million people, she mentions that 9 million people have college debt. That will be mostly women, because they send, black women and then Edomites. All right, because they're the ones that they really push to go to college. All right, and a lot of them get grants and stuff to go to, is what that they won't give to Jake men, because they don't want men to be on that level, to create that imbalance. So they keep the woman over the man. That was also something that the wicked done. They have pretty much destroyed the family structure by doing so, and they've done the same, with other people, but mainly to the Israelites. All right, because still Edomite men will still get higher paying jobs in most cases over their counterparts, but not the other way around. And so you're losing your purchasing power, and they're pretty much creating a digital prison, which is all leading up to the MOTB. Apostle Hard did a lesson, and he was showing how the AI was breaking down Great Millstone. Clearly, we're the premier group, Israelites in this Israelite thing. All right, not to brag, but it's just truth according to the stats. As far as our continuing to bring out prophecy, and then those other brothers out there, there are other brothers, righteous Israelite brothers who are pushing this truth the proper way, and also bringing out the fact that the MOTB is the mark of the, you know what, that is the microchip. And that's what this whole digital thing, that's why they're crashing this system so they can, and now they're going to go to this digital thing and try to put everyone on a universal basic income and basically have you in a restricted prison where you can barely drive, barely move around, et cetera, et cetera. All right.
No, you think you're free in this country? Okay. It's an illusion. You wait till your car doesn't start. They shut off the power on you. You can't access your money in your bank account. They are building an electronic cage around you, around your children, their future. All these corrupt politicians are all a part of it. All of them. Every single one. You better have a plan. Things are going to get a lot worse.
And he's right, because the Lion of Judah is coming, and things are going to get a lot worse. But when it gets to the point where it's unbearable, that's when the Lord comes. And there's no rapture either. That's a bunch of man-made doctrine of men. All right, it doesn't say anywhere in the scriptures that the Lord is going to come, take a few, and then come back again 7 years later. All right. So the name of this video that I'm about to play is called From 1776 to the Pentagon, 250 Years of U.S. Genocide and Imperialism. KG No and Rakab Desai. All right. So we're going to hear what these, with these two heathen nations, and I don't mean heathen in a bad way. It just means other nation. All right. Not heathen in the way that, within Christianism, the way Edomites have pushed it. All right. It just means that they're other nations. I think he's a Moabite, and she's Elam or Elamite. All right. I had an Elamite once correct. It said Elam. So they know who they are. All right. So we got a Moabite and an Elamite here who are probably American citizens or lived here and been back and forth here, but they're just going to speak the truth. See, well, how's that scripture? Are they now, have you now become like us? Okay. So here we go.
That things are not what they're cooked up to be. Of course, it never was what it was cooked up to be. As you point out, it's essentially centuries of genocide and slavery. During that 250 years since its inception, it's been at war for 234 years. There are only 16 years when it has actually not been at war. And just the domestic situation, one measure is the fact that 60% of the population does not have $1,000 to its name. 40% does not have $500 to its name, which means they're all living hand to mouth. And it's a kind of precarity, which I think is, unheard of in the wealthiest country on the planet.
In a truly exceptional way, the United States has been genocidal. It has been a slaving nation. The people who signed the Declaration of Independence were themselves slave owners.
Consider what she just said, what he just said. All right? That the people who signed the Declaration of Independence about freedom, blah, 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 were slave owners themselves. That's like a murderer writing a document for other murderers. All right? He said that this is a precarity in the supposed richest country in the world. Precarity means a state of lack of stability, uncertainty, and insecurity. It is most often describes unstable work, low income, and unpredictable living conditions. Right? You sound like the young man on that Leonardo DiCaprio played in the Titanic. How he didn't know where he was going to wake up, where he was going to be, and even if he was going to eat that day. But every day was an adventure. There's no way to live your life. especially when you got capable people who are capable of supporting themselves, but you take away all their means to do so. And all this is orchestrated by the wearers of the smaller hats. They're responsible for all of this suffering, and the rest of their Edomite family that support them, especially here in America.
That and that legacy continues. I was listening to somebody or the other talking about how, in the context of July the 4th, talking about how Bill Clinton once said that there's nothing that is bad about this country that cannot be rectified by what's good about this country. But that's precisely the two are really not being allowed to come together. The good is not being allowed to rectify the bad. Hello and welcome to the 78th Geopolitical Economy Hour, the conversation that illuminates the fast-changing political economy and geopolitical economy of our times from a socialist and anti-imperialist point of view, the point of view, that is, of the world majority. I'm Radhika Desai, and you're watching Radhika Desai, Geopolitical Economist. But before we continue with this episode, let me take a minute to remind you to please like and share this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you can, please donate.
Now, this is my first time ever watching Radhika Desai. I will continue to watch her. All right? I'm going to add her to my Savvy Sabs and my Kim Iverson list.
Can do this through our Patreon or by becoming a paid subscriber on Substack or becoming a member here on YouTube. It helps us to produce high quality content and keep it free. And now back to the main topic of the day. Joining me today is one of our regular guests, KJ No. Welcome, KJ.
Good to be with you, Radhika.
KJ, we've decided that we want to talk about
KJ No. I believe he's a Moabite. I think he's Vietnamese.
Two different subjects. First, where is the US at 250 years from the Declaration of Independence? Having decisively lost a major war with a far lesser power, namely Iran, the United States continues to its grandiose scheme of subduing China militarily. What are those plans? How realistic are they, given how badly the US and the Pentagon have acquitted themselves in the Iran war? So these are the two questions we want to discuss. So let's start with the 250th anniversary of the founding of this genocidal slaving oligarchy, which fancies itself as a republic. And, it seems to me that there's quite...
In fact, the wearers of the smaller hats were the orchestrators of the slave trade. And then there are records and relics, evidence to prove that, but you just get you get put into there. Anytime you bring out evidence against them, they'll basically say it's hearsay or conspiracy. All right? It's like you have their fingerprints and their blood type, their DNA, and they'll still say it's fingerprints and hearsay. Anything and put you into the main way that they get out of being guilty of anything, the moment you corner them, all right, they come with the whole anti-Semitic thing. Just scream Bloody Mary anti-Semitic. As if they were the only Semitic people. All right, remember there are 8 Semitic nations, and they're not the chosen one. Only one of those nations is actually the chosen, and they're not it. This is Exodus 17-16. And he said, because Yahweh hath sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. And it's funny, and I find it entertainingly stupid that these people would even mention and bring up that name. They keep bringing it up in discussion, talking about it as if they're not Amalek. If they're not at war with the Lord, because they claim to be the people of the Lord, yet they do everything opposite and against the Lord. They use a whole other book. When Isaiah 34:16 clearly states that the Israelites are to only use the Torah Tanakh, the Holy Scriptures, which includes the New Testament and the Apocrypha. And they fraction that. And then, instead of using the Apocrypha, And even though they gravitate and use the history from the Apocrypha, they don't really use the book itself. Okay, and then they completely deny and replace the New Testament with the Talmud. These are not the people of the Lord at all.
To contrast between the usual, until recently, the usual celebrations on July 4, and in particular the bicentennial.
Also, the Lord tells you in the Bible, there will be peace when Israel is in that land. Okay? The true Israelites are in the land of Israel. It will be peace. There's no peace over there. So they are not the people. They are the Amalekites.
Celebrations of 1976. Although they were in their own way somewhat hypocritical, they were certainly the more widely celebrated. The celebrations were widely shared. 50 years later, there's a stench of corruption, an air of tawdriness, and the revulsion, widespread revulsion at the political self-aggrandizement of the president, using this event in order to, for his own political and indeed financial gain. So what's your take on it?
Well, I think, the stench of corruption and decay and despair, I think, is everywhere. I was just out in the city and in major part of the city, and it was just completely empty, nothing happening. Stores were rolled up, and this is, fairly dense part of the city, but nobody was out. So, I think there's a real sense of despair. And, this quote unquote quincentennial, I think people are starting to realize that things are not what they're cooked up to be. Of course, it never was what it was cooked up to be. As you point out, it's essentially centuries of genocide and slavery. During that 250 years since its inception, it's been at war for 234 years. There are only 16 years when it has actually not been at war. And just the domestic situation, one measure is the fact that 60% of the population does not have $1,000 to its name. 40% does not have $500 to its name, which means they're all living hand to mouth, and it's a kind of precarity, which I think is, unheard of in the wealthiest country on the planet. And of course,
and then you still will have people to fix their lips to say some dumb shit like, "This is the greatest country on the planet." And this is a video that I saw yesterday that I'm gonna have to watch. But the question was, why are Americans saying this? And this is what it said. Why are Americans saying this? Okay?
The diminishing life expectancy, the diminishing quality of life, just the utter lack of hope in general. What we've been given, as usual, is a panoply of mystificatory, spectacles, none of which amount to a hill of beans.
Wow.
But they still, signal, some of the core strategies which are being used. Essentially, for the far right, it's MAGA. For the left, it's woke. These are the palliatory ideologies that people are being fed. And for everybody in between, it's legalized dope and porn and Netflix. That's what we're getting.
And who's controlling all of that? This is Ezekiel 36:5. Therefore thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have apported my land, that's the land of Israel, into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Okay? Verse 7. Thus saith the Lord power, I have lifted up my hand, surely the heathen that are about you, they shall bear their shame. And so now, that's becoming a common topic, that these people are not the people of the Lord and that they're ruling here in America. This is why the video, once again, I forget the little redhead chick, I forget her name, but this is why her video, this is the thumbnail of her video. Okay? And it says, why are Americans saying this? And that's her thumbnail. Again, why are Americans saying this? Because the Americans see it. They know who's ruling over them. All right, with the whole Epstein class, they know what's happening. People are not stupid. So they're really getting ready to clamp down with this digital things to shut you up. Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. See, because they shed our blood every day in the streets with their law enforcement, which bear the shield of the very people we're talking about. Thus will by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time where their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. And since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So their blood is about to be spilled for all their crimes against humanity, and mainly their crimes against the apple of the Lord's eye, the true Hebrew Israelites. Thus I will make Mount Seir, and that's what they are, most desolate, and cut off from it that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and thy hills and the valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. The Lord is getting ready to wreak havoc. Okay? So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakahak, Wadas, Kwam, Yasharala, Abba, Babal.
That's right. It's a wrap for you, devil. It's a wrap. Oh, yeah. It's a wrap for you big time. So, we're going to let you know what time it is in the battlefield, sucker. Big time. Where we at? That's right. That's right. You see that? That's right. It's a wrap for you, devil. Your time is up. You know what I'm saying? You think you're going to eat? You're not going to eat. But you think you're going to eat. Yeah, the Lord is going to eat you. He's going to put you in the grinder. Let you know what time it is in the battlefield. Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. That's right. So your time is up, sucker. Wall or ball, ball.